they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 872 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's January 19th, 2026. This morning, I'm enjoying a fresh cup of light Ethiopian from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10, that's LOTS10, and shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club for even more awesome perks. Today we've got another packed show, updates on the cabin build, a possible banking nightmare, what I've been seeing while walking the dogs along the county road, and the follow-up on both the propane regulator issue and the gas station robbery attempt here in town, and whatever else kind of pops up if we have time. So grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, Jim. Good morning, Jim. How you doing? Been a while. Jim says, good morning. Here, there's a morning show around here. Yes, Jim, there is a morning show around here, and thanks for stopping in. Good morning, Rewild Their Life. Thanks for popping in. Hunter, good morning over on Twitch. My Twitch guy. I think you're the only one that ever is over on Twitch. If anybody else uses Twitch and wants to keeps Hunter company, you could always log on to Twitch and hang out with Hunter in the morning. Light Ethiopian, back at the Light Ethiopian. I got my C4 Club coming. I should probably have been here today, except it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And man, Martin Luther King Jr. would probably be proud of what he would see with our society right now. We've done exactly what he had hoped. But anyway, Martin Luther King Jr., banks closed, schools closed, all of that closed. I think schools are closed. I don't know. I know the mail's not going to show up, and my coffee is going to be tomorrow before it gets here. But excited for a new test blend coming this month, and we're going to enjoy that. So if you're into coffee, head on over to foodforestfarms.com and check out that C4 Club, or just order up a pound or two and check it out. It'll be the best coffee you've ever had. It's chilly this morning, guys. It's excuse me, chilly this morning. Going to be chillier overnight tonight. I think we have to actually stay up and run the wood stove all night tonight because it's going to be down into the mid-teens. But I had an oopsie last night. Our water tank. I mean, since we've been here, we fill our tank, we fill our fresh water tank, and then turn the hose off. And we don't hook up the pressurized hose. For some reason, we've always, whether it be to keep in the practice of conserving water or not wanting the pressurized water hooked up to the sketchy, I shouldn't call it sketchy, it's probably fine, but the RV plumbing, and if we happen to be gone somewhere, something happens and something starts leaking, that pressurized water is just going to keep flowing. If it's only the freshwater tank full, then we got 40 gallons of water to deal with, or whatever the tank is. I think it's about 40. But anyway, we ran out last night about bedtime. I was filling the Berkey filter, and I went out to fill it and dipped down below freezing, and the hose was frozen. So currently waiting for the sun to come out this morning, and hopefully the temp and the sun thaws out the hose so I can fill our fresh water tank. But it's supposed to get cold tonight, and then the rest of the week it is normal for this time of year, just below freezing overnight, highs in the 40s, 50s, 30s, whatever, kind of variable. But looking at the forecast yesterday, and I don't know if I haven't looked yet this morning, but looking at the forecast yesterday, next weekend we're supposed to get like 7 inches of snow, and and then it's not supposed to get very warm after that, so it should stick around here for quite a bit, and we're just not equipped to deal with that. So next Monday on the show, we might be talking about how closed everything is around here due to the snow. And Rewild Their Life says closed due to weather up there in Michigan. What kind of weather you got? Just a normal winter, heavy snows and cold, or you got something amazing going on up there? All right. Well, First things first, let's get to that Bitcoin guessing game contest. You know, the contest where everybody guesses a Bitcoin price for the following week, and there is no prize, but we do it anyway, and we have fun doing it. So let's. Hunter says all that ice, as in the immigration and customs enforcement, or frozen water. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to much anywhere. Rewilder Life says very cold, possible -25 below, wind and snow. Hunter says that's Minnesota with the ice problem. But anyway, Bitcoin price. Let's do the Bitcoin guessing game. No prizes awarded, but we have fun anyway. 607 on January 19th, 2026. 607 January 19th, 2026. Bitcoin price, according to my ticker tracker, is $93,051. $93,051. Up above that, if you're watching the video, you can see my guess from last week was 95,959. Not too bad. Not too bad. Only a couple thousand, 1,000 to almost 3,000 off. It's been worse for sure. Let's see who else. Let's see who else put a guess in. We'll start way at the top, way off. Chris Dixon came in 102,985. Sorry, Chris, didn't quite make it up that high. Rachel, Rewilder Life, picked 99,500. And John Palmer, 98,765. We're getting kind of close there. Blueberry, Texas, our winner from last week, went low this week and put in an 89,723. That's a little too far off. Canadian Farmstead, 92,233. That's getting closer. Scramblin, perennial winner here. Scramblin, he picked 96,500, getting closer. Palm Tree, 95,000, closer. Our winner this week, and our man down in Florida, hanging out on the docks there, hanging out, unloading parts and just living the life down there in Central Florida. We got Pip coming in with a guess at $93,420.69. I think the 69 cents must have done it. Pip, you're the winner today. $93,420.69 was Pip's guess, and congratulations, Pip, on winning the weekly Bitcoin guessing game contest. I'm holding steady on my guess for next week. I'm not going to change it. We're going to go with $95,959 and see what happens. Just don't even need to erase it. Just leave it right up there. If you want to participate in the guessing game and maybe win, Hunter, why don't you pick? Wait, I don't see a pick from Hunter. Haha. Not good. Anyway, if you want to pick throw a guess in for the Bitcoin guessing game, head on over to the Telegram chat at t.me/lotschat. That's t.me/lotschat. Find the pinned message and just reply to that with your guess, and we will get back to it next week. Bitcoin price on January 19th, 2026, we had $93,051. It pumped up. It jumped up. Always jumps up in the middle of the segment, and at least this week it wasn't close enough to make a difference. So, congratulations, Pip. I hope you have a wonderful Martin Luther King Day with your win, and I'll get that prize out to you as soon as possible. Anyway, every week we give kind of a cabin update. Corey and I are working away at the cabin. It was kind of a slow weekend. We had a cold snap on Sunday. Cold enough yesterday that we didn't want the wood stove to go out during the day. We kept it running all day. It was going to be quite cold working out there, and we just decided that instead of battling that, we had some stuff we wanted to get done around here. Had some Corey made some soup. We watched some TV and hung out. And so yesterday was a no-go on the cabin. The day before, we wanted to get to one of the doors installed. So the week before, we had gone to install a door. I think I talked about it. And just the way we have things set up and the layering of the different materials, we're about a half an inch short. We're half an inch off on where we wanted it. So I was going to have to come up with some spacers. Kind of went back and forth on what I wanted to use as far as material. There isn't really a true 1/2 inch material that's I think it had to be like 81 inches long, 1/2 an inch thick, and 1 inch wide. And so I went back and forth. I did some searching, and really the idea that kept coming up to mind was milling it out of a 2x4 or 2x6 or something like that. And to do that, I was either gonna have to use a skill saw or ideally a table saw, which I don't have currently. Had one in Minnesota, didn't bring it with us. It wasn't wasn't didn't fit in the truck. Basically, I got rid of a lot of tools I wish I still had, but just didn't have the space when we hit the road. But anyway, wanted to do those on a table saw. Could have done them with a skill saw. Kind of made an attempt at it. Set up a rough fence, and it didn't really work out that well. They were pretty wavy, not really consistent. So I talked to my buddy down at the end of the road, Jamie, and he was kind enough to let me borrow his table saw. And so first thing first, on Saturday morning, ripped up some spacers. They turned out really well. Corey helped me guide those long 2x4s through the table saw, and basically we scored lines. So if you picture bless you, Corey, if you picture the 2x4 laying flat on the table saw with the wide end down, we scored lines every 1/2 inch, and then plus the blade 1/8 of an inch, but kept moving the fence. And so we scored lines about 3/4 of the way through the 2x4, a bunch of them. And then we flipped the board on its side and set the fence to 1 inch and basically ran it and sliced them all off. And it worked out really well. I mean, they turned out pretty well, pretty nice and straight, and the right dimensions. So they ended up being 1/2 inch thick and 1 inch wide, and trimmed them to length. And so once we got those tacked up on the wall, everything seemed to fit better. Everything lined up where we wanted it to. It was what needed to be done. And so we went to install the door. We got it in and started messing around with it. And man, it's I hate doors. Windows aren't bad. Door was a little bit more of a pain in the ass. But after dicking around with it for a little bit, we ended up getting it to where we needed it, and got her installed. Went to put the doorknob in. Doorknob went in very easily and works just great. The deadbolt that Corey picked is going to have to wait. Actually, the deadbolt's in. The strike plate on the door jamb is the part that was pre-mortised out was not big enough. So I got to pick up chisel at Lowe's this week and chisel out a little bit more to get the strike plate sit in properly and sit flush. So, but anyway, it opens and closes. It works smooth. It looks really nice. Corey picked doors with a big old window in them, and none of the cross hatching or anything in the window. None of the window panes or anything like that. It's just a big open window. I think, man, it's got to be like 2 foot by 18 inches, maybe. I don't know. It's a rather large window, and then both doors will be lined up on the two sides of the house. So basically, you can see through the house through the two doors, but lots of light. So that was then we wrapped up. We kind of looked at some other projects. We got some ideas to work on going forward. And I mean, really, it looks like this coming weekend with all the snow, I don't even know if we'll be able to get into the cabin. So I don't think we'll probably get much work done this week or next weekend. I think weather is going to play a big role in the next few weeks as far as getting progress done. I do have to get out to the property this week, and a lot of it is going to be preparing for that upcoming weather that we have next week. because need to get firewood, need to get a bunch of firewood because I don't know how long we're going to be stuck. We got to do a little bit of prepping. We're going to fill some water jugs and a bunch of other stuff with cold coming right after the snow. You never really know when you're going to be able to leave here in Tennessee because they don't have any road equipment for snow, and any bit of snow on the roads that ends up sticking around just causes large amounts of issues. And the more it stays cold, the sun comes out and it melts and then refreezes and ice. It gets nasty. You could be just going somewhere around the corner and end up in a little holler with ice on the uphill, and you're just stuck there and there's nowhere to go. If you've driven on ice, add in hills and no traction, and that's what you got. So it gets kind of dicey. So I'm planning on just packing it up and having not to leave. Let's just say that. Not going to want to leave and get a bunch of stuff done here in the cabin. It'll be computer work and things along that line. But anyway, that's the cabin update. And 7 inches of snow. Somebody said in the Telegram group, probably a good roof test. I don't know. It should slide off the roof, no problem. And 7 inches isn't that much. But yes, a load rating or load test on the roof at 7 inches of snow. So, not looking forward to that. I guess one a year. I can deal with one a year. But anyway, with the snow, that makes me think of the first sponsor I want to talk about today. It's my company. It's my company and my site, but sponsor of the day. Number one, we have comfreyroots.com, comfreyroots.com. If you're down in the southern states and you've always tried to start Comfrey, ask Hunter. When you start it late and it gets to summer and those roots aren't established, it just gets all crispy and it's hard to keep alive. So right now is a great time if you're in those southern states to order up some Comfrey, get it in the ground, let it get established before that dearth of summer where it's just super, super hot and sun's just baking those plants. Let them get established a little bit and have a few months of growth before. And as soon as, if you can get them to survive that first summer, they should be pretty drought resistant and heat resistant going forward. But in that young stage, if you're trying to plant them close to that summer, it doesn't necessarily work out that well. So if your ground is tillable, if your ground is workable with a shovel, it's a perfect time to get Comfrey in the ground. So head on over to comfreyroots.com, comfreyroots.com, and order up a big old package today. Most popular package recently has been the 5-pack. 5-pack has been flying off the shelves. So go over and pick one up today. Get 50 to 60, well, 50 minimum. That's more like 60 or more. Comfrey Roots, and get those plants started. It's a beautiful ornamental. It's a medicinal. It's got a ton of uses. It's got a ton of uses. If you don't know about Comfrey, go ahead and look it up, or you can find more information out about the plant over at comfreyroots.com. Any questions, you can always ask me too. But yeah, I appreciate it if you check that out and go get your orders in. I don't think Rachel needs any up there in Michigan right now. It'd be kind of tough to get it in the ground. But Texas, Florida, Arizona, Southern California, all of them, get that Comfrey in the ground so it's a little bit heat and drought resistant this summer. Light Ethiopian, man. I hadn't had light Ethiopian in a bit there. I had some Christmas blend. We had some other new blends and different stuff in the C4 box for a couple months. I don't think I had broken into a light Ethiopian in quite a while, and it's definitely one of my leaning towards one of my favorites. So anyway, let's move on to that next topic, possible banking nightmare. What happened now? Oh, Davos is starting today, the World Economic Forum. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Big banks failing. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. This one's personal. Personal banking nightmare. So Corey and I went out. Was Friday night. Went out for some Mexican dinner down here in town. It's fantastic. The Mexican restaurant here in town is the food is just phenomenal. The prices are you can't beat them. Like really, if you go there and you get two meals, you're not much more than if you're buying the food to prepare it yourself at home. I don't know how their prices are so low, but man, for the quality of the food you get, the prices are just phenomenal. So we try to hit them. We try to support them. It's usually pretty busy, so I don't know if our support makes any difference or not. But we try to hit the Mexican restaurant quite often. Nice people, always treated us right, and so we were out to dinner on Friday night. Had a nice dinner. I had some enchiladas. I think Corey had some sort of cheesesteak burritos or something. I don't know. She liked them. Got to the end of the night and I went to pay. And so I grab check card. I hand the guy the check card and he goes and runs it and comes back and he's like, "Hey, I tried this a couple times and it wouldn't go through." I was like, "Oh, was it declined?" Knowing full well that there was plenty of money in the account to cover what I was buying. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. It just kept coming up with these weird letters." It's like, "I don't really seen it before." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Thinking maybe something was wrong with the network or their reader or something. So I gave him my fold debit card. It's fantastic. So check it out. But I've been using the fold card exclusively for building the cabin, so I could use all those funds at Lowe's. But anyway, I had some funds on there. I gave him the fold card. It went through and no problem. So it wasn't their network. And I was like kind of scratching my head. And I mean, there's enough money in the account that I don't want to deal with fraud. It was my first thing. It was like, who stole my number? They locked down the account, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit. So we had to run over to the gas station after that and ran over there and went to pay with the card and declined. On their card reader, it just said declined. And I was like, interesting. Really? Interesting. This isn't good. I don't want to deal with this. And we're looking at Friday night. It was kind of later in the evening. So we went home. Corey and I went home. I pulled up the app, looked. It didn't look like there was any suspicious activity. It didn't look like there was any alerts on the account. I'm like, what is going on? This is really weird. And so I didn't feel like dealing with it that night. I mean, it wasn't going to make any difference. So I was going to call them first thing in the morning with coffee in the morning, and got up the next morning and I take out the card. I look at the number on the back and I dial the number, and I'm sitting there and it's ringing, and I'm looking at the card and it says expires 11/25. And I'm like, that's weird. And I've been using the card until, this is January now, middle of January. And I remember that we had gotten a card and gotten a new card. And I'm scratching my head there for a second. And I take out my wallet and I pull out all the cards out of my wallet. And I'm flipping through. And sure as shit, there's the check card that I've been using for the last 3 or 4 months since we activated it. And for some reason, the expired card was in my wallet, in the back of my wallet. And that was what ended up getting pulled out. So I had been trying to pay for Mexican. I tried to pay for the gas station with a card that had been expired since November. It had just been sitting in the back of my wallet. And I don't remember why I didn't throw it out. I can't remember if I had just stuck it in there because I wanted to make sure that the new one worked after we activated it. I don't know why it was in there. And I don't know how I managed to pull it out since I had consistently been using the proper one for months now. But anyway, bad on me. I had pulled it out, but I was able to get the phone hung up before anybody answered, and I had to figure out with someone that I was just a dumbass and had been using an expired card, and that's why it wouldn't work. But have you ever dealt with fraud? We've dealt with it a couple times, Corey and I, since we've been together 20 plus years. Data breaches at businesses we had used our card. It really, I don't think we've ever had anything due to our negligence, but definitely had to go through the process of having stolen card and fraud and all of that stuff. So we weren't looking forward to going through that. So I was happy. I was excited to be the dumbass that made the mistake, but that would have been interesting. It would have been interesting to have to explain that to the customer service rep, or if we would have been able to figure it out once I got connected on the call. But it made me think what we would have kind of went through the motions that evening of how we're going to make this work until we get a new card. Like that's our lifeline here. I mean, I guess I could go take cash out with what card? I guess I got a card for another account that we could transfer money to, a business account, a personal account. But I was really excited that I had the full debit card, and then that's hooked to my account and could have transferred funds if needed to take any time without that check card. But you don't realize how dependent you get on the systems that you use until they're not. Jim says no cash under the mattress. Well, you don't want to have to use that unless you have to use that, right? Because then you'd have to replace it. And it's not under the mattress. It's not under the mattress. And, there's always reserve. There's always reserve sitting here and there. But talking extended use, I didn't have any. I did have cash with me, and would have been able to get by, but I don't like to use it if I don't have to. Rewilder Life says just get a loan like everyone else. I suppose. Oh, so that wasn't fun. That was scary. That's that scary feeling in the back of your throat when you're like, oh no, what? Really? I don't want to deal with this shit. When the guy's like, declined. I've been in points in my life where my card got declined because of lack of funds, for sure. For sure. But I knew that wasn't the case. And man, I didn't want to deal with the alternative, for sure. I didn't want my bank account to be lack of funds, but not through my own doing. That's never good to deal with. So got that taken care of. Cut the expired card up right away and threw it away. And Corey just kind of looked at me, rolled her eyes, and chuckled. So that's it. That's that. Let's get a couple updates here on a couple things from a few weeks ago. Propane regulator. If you have listened to the last couple weeks, you know that had an accident at the property. I was unloading some deck boards. The deck board slid off the top of the pile. I landed on the propane regulator, or the collar that screws into the propane tank. Snap that in half. Snap the little dildo that goes into there that lets the propane out. That snapped off. The propane was just like, it had to turn the tank off. And so I had looked at a new hose assembly for the hose, the regulator, and the quick connect fitting to go to the generator. That was more expensive than I wanted to deal with. And being somebody that was a service technician, I kind of did this stuff for a living for long enough that I was looked at it, knew I could take it apart, and just order the parts that I needed, the broken parts to replace them, which was basically a regulator assembly that had the collar that screwed the propane tank and the regulator itself, and then the hose, the same. I would keep the same hose and just screw it into that. Found one on Amazon, used the part number, searched it, didn't really pay attention to the outlet hole size on the regulator. And when I got it, it was not the same size as the hose. My story from last week, I had gone to Lowe's. I had bought some brass bushings and bought the sizes on either side of it. I got the hose side right, but had misjudged the. I had bought two to make sure that I got the right size, but I went on either side of the actual size. This past week, I went back to Lowe's. I got the right fitting. I got I made sure I had some propane Teflon tape and put it together. It was pretty simple. It should have been a simple job. So I got that put together. We used that on Saturday, and it worked just fine. It worked great. The new propane regulator, actually, it felt like it might have started up a little quicker than the old one. That Champion generator on propane, when you haven't used it in a while and the hose is empty, it really takes a lot of, there's no purging the propane into the generator. Basically you have to cycle it, like trying to start it, and it builds up. I don't know if it builds up a little vacuum or what happens to get that propane to actually flow into the generator. But this seems like it put out a little bit extra, and I don't know why. It has the same serial numbers, or not serial numbers, but model number on the regulator itself. And I did find where I missed a letter that denoted the size of the exit hole. But it should be the same regulator. I don't know. Could have been all in my head that it started easier. But anyway, generator. Excuse me. Anyway, generator is propane line for generator is all fixed. That was it took way longer and way more steps and way more trips to the hardware store and headache than I ever should have, for sure. It should have been a one and done. Should have ordered the right part to begin with, and I would have been able to just spin off the old one, spin on the new one. But I didn't pay attention, and that's on me. So that was two whammies in a row. But one is two is one and one is none. We had a backup generator, and we could also use gas in the generator. But our Honda that we bought to go on the road when we were going full time in the RV, and now this Champion tri-fuel, neither of our generators have had any gasoline in them at all. We've run them strictly on propane, and I like it. No mess, no storing the gas, no stink. I guess the propane smells a little bit, but no gasoline problems, no carb problems, no buildup, no ethanol problems, no draining the tank. We do lose a little bit of power. It's a little lower, the peak power and the power output, but having oversized the generators, it isn't an issue. So you guys use propane in your generators, or are you all gasoline? I'm a big proponent of the propane, if you can't tell, and but I can use gasoline if I want to. Just I would rather not if I don't have to. So that is all fixed up. And then the other thing that I had an update on was the gas station robbery attempt here in town. So I talked about the fact that it kind of blew up on Facebook. They had security camera footage of three young gentlemen. Rather, says all propane hooked to a big pig. That's what I want to do in the end. I'd love it. I don't know. I go back and forth. In Minnesota, we had one 500, I think it was 500 gallon tank, and or 500 pound tank. I can't remember. They get sized by pounds or gallons. Like a 30 pound propane cylinder holds 7-ish gallons of propane. I know that because I fill them all the time at Tractor Supply. I don't know if I want to go with 100 pounders and get them filled myself, or if I want to go back to having the propane guy come and fill up the big tank. I don't know. We'll see. As of now, we'll progress from our 30-pound tanks to 100-pound tanks, and then decide in the end if we want to contract with a propane company and see if they want to put a tank up there, and even if they will. I don't know. They should, but you never know. But anyway, gas station break-in. Jim says he's buying in bulk cheaper. I'm buying from a propane company in a 500 pound was probably cheaper, I would think. I haven't priced it here. In Minnesota, it was. And we used to do all sorts of things to cut down on costs there. We'd pre-buy for the season. We would always fill our tank. They would have an end of the season top off sale where they were trying to get rid of all the pre-bought propane that they had already sold that people hadn't used, and their money had rolled back into their account. They would do a discount period where you get super cheap to top it off going into summer when you didn't really use a whole lot of it. And then, like I said, the pre-buy going into the season, you could pre-buy at a set price for the season, and then they just deducted from your balance every time you got to fill up. So that was kind of our routine up there. Here, man, I don't know if we'll use enough to make a difference. We'll have on propane, we'll run our stove, our on-demand water heater, and backup generator. So the propane water heater, the on-demand water heater won't take a ton, and I'm hopefully going to set up a system that that'll preheat our water with our excess solar. So I'm pretty sure we'll have excess solar, and instead of just letting that not do anything, I want to set up a preheater on the water, like a preheating water tank before it goes to the propane on demand, which will lower the propane usage on that. Stove, grill, cooking doesn't take a ton of propane. We're not going to be heating with it. So I don't know if it'll be worth the savings. We'll have to see. We'll see. Good question, though. But anyway, gas station here in town a couple weeks ago, they had security footage of three young gentlemen outside the building, and one of them had a rifle. They were trying to break in. There was all sorts of hoopla in town about we got to catch them. We need cop. We need a cop in town, and blah blah blah, and all this. Well, they caught the guys pretty quickly. Sheriff's Department posted a few days later and said, "Hey, we caught the guys. We caught the kids, but they're minors, and we can't release their name." So, Hunter, I'll answer that in a second. Anyway, so they caught the guys. They were minors. They looked young. I thought they looked young, but I thought they were probably in their late teens, maybe early 20s. So I thought that I didn't necessarily think that they were minors. Turns out, I stopped at the gas station the other morning, and there was a hole in the window that I hadn't noticed before. I was like, what the hell is the hole in the front window there? They have this big front window, and it's got the panes, and all the lattice work in between the panes, and then right next to it is huge plate glass door, and one of the panes in the little window had a busted out, and I was like, that's interesting. Did somebody toss a rock through that, or like what happened? Why is that broken? And the worker's like, oh, that's those idiots that tried to break in. I'm like, the ones that were on Facebook? He had the pictures on Facebook. Yeah. I was like, why didn't they break the plate glass door? They could have walked in. There was no way they were getting through this little tiny little tiny pane. They would have to bust out like 8 of them and then rip out the lattice work. And she's like, I don't know, they were dumbass kids. I was like, oh yeah, how old were they? She said they were 13 and 15. I was like, really? I thought that was a little young. I said, that's a little young for being toting around a rifle to try to break into a gas station. She says, it was a pellet gun. I was like, that's even dumber. So these kids decided they were going to break into a gas station. They decided to bring a tricked out pellet gun that from the photos looked like a built out AR in the middle of a rural Tennessee town. I don't know how they didn't get shot, first of all. But anyway, that they did pick up the kids. They were 13 to 15 years old and carrying a pellet gun to a gunfight. If somebody had shown up. Hunter says, why do they sell it by the gallon but measure it by weight? Talking about propane. I don't know. That's your answer. They price it by the gallon. I think that the tanks are just, I don't think they sell it. I don't think they measure it by weight. I think that's just the tank. That was the nomenclature that came, like 20-pound tank, 30-pound tank, 100-pound tank. I don't think a 7.1 gallon tank. I don't know. I don't know why it happened. Hunter, that is a great question. We should ask somebody here. Let me see. Why are propane tanks measured in gallons in weight and propane sold by weight? Oops, sold by gallon. Whoops. Oh. Okay, so what it looks like. So when I go, so let's do Tractor Supply, and that's where I get my tanks filled. So Tractor Supply takes the tank, they put it on a scale, so they're actually weighing what you're getting, and when you pay, it's in their system by gallons. Depending on temperature, the propane will take up different volume. I think the weight is to determine how full the tank is, and then you pay by the gallon, not by the weight, because I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Inventory tracking? I don't know. Like, honestly, it's I'll have to do some research on that, Hunter. That's a good question, and I don't know. I've never really been in propane and propane accessories. If we could get a hold of Hank, that would be a great question to ask him. So, stumped me, man. Stumped me. If anybody knows why they sell it in gallons but measure it by weight. I don't know. Now you got me thinking. Not good. Not good for the rest of the show. Thanks, Hunter. Anyway, sponsor number two today, Blockstream Jade and Jade Plus. Check out the Blockstream Jade for your Bitcoin hardware wallet needs. Great new app. I really enjoy their updated Blockstream app. And the Blockstream Jade and the Jade Plus have always been functioning fine for me. As they say, easy enough for a beginner, but advanced enough for somebody a little further along their Bitcoin journey. Keep that Bitcoin safe, need that physical device to send. And now with the updated app, you can view only your balances and see everything in the app, everything short of sending any of your Bitcoin without that hardware device, without the physical device with you to confirm and sign that transaction. So check out Blockstream Jade and Jade Plus at store.blockstream.com. Use code The Lots Project for 10% off, and I'll earn a small commission on all those purchases, and I appreciate that. You find that link in the video description and the audio description if you need help with getting started in Bitcoin. If you're just getting started and you don't quite need a hardware wallet yet, you can always get a hold of me. I can help you walk through the getting started of Bitcoin and learning about it, why it's important, and how to use it. Speaking of getting started, I am back on Nostr a little bit. Here and there, kind of rolling into it again. Over the last 6 months, kind of missed some innovations, missed some changes. Some of my protocol, some of my things I have set up aren't quite working quite yet. Again, working through that, and then also trying to see what has changed for new people, for onboarding, what the best way to onboard somebody is, that somebody wants to try it out and see what it's all about, and get started. What the easiest way to get that done, not through a bunch of hoops, not through a bunch of techie stuff, just sign up and use it. Kind of seeing if anything has developed in the last 6 months to make that easier. I'll report back soon. Getting immersed back into it. It's changed, definitely changed in the last 6 months. I don't know if usership is up or down. If the users I was following. So the nice part about Nostr is you see what you choose to see. Unlike Facebook, where I hear constantly people complaining about, I don't even see the people that I follow. I see a bunch of ads. I see suggested posts. On Nostr, if you don't follow anybody, if you don't follow a hashtag, you don't follow any specific people, you don't see anything. You see what you follow. So if the frustrating part of social media for you is not seeing what you want to see and not seeing what you choose to see, using Nostr might be a good solution to that. But on the flip side of that is you have to go and put in the work to find the people that you want to see, the content that you want to see. And it takes some time. It takes some getting used to, because you've been conditioned to use the social medias that are spoon fed to you, the stuff that you don't want to see. But yeah, getting immersed back into it. It was what was intended to be a short, quick little break turned into got out of routine, got out of habit, and turned into 6 months or so hiatus from Nostr. But now that I'm back, I getting back into it, and I see more and more every time I interact why I chose to spend a bunch of time over there. And I also see the reason why I took a little break. So that just takes some personal calling on my follow list and things like that. So more to come on that. Slow rolling back into Nostr. Had on my notes about our dog walks. Got about 10 minutes here. That's about right. So our dog walk, I've talked many times about our dog walks here where we're parked. We walk along the county road. Probably I think it's a 45-mile-an-hour zone. I don't know. There's no speed limit signs on that road, but I think it's 45. People are most people are very, very courteous. Get over, slow down. If two cars happen to be coming head to head at us, they kind of slow down and wait and go around. Some people are oblivious. Yesterday we saw somebody that was never looked up the whole time they passed us on her phone. we were on either side of the street. Just we were just getting started with our walk, and here she comes, and was like, holy shit, she never even looked up from her phone the whole time. I mean, you could see in through her windshield, and I don't know. It's just busy doing some shit, busy texting or reading Facebook or something. I don't know what they were doing, because there's no fucking phone service around here anyway. But anyway, besides the cars, we see a ton of wildlife. Routinely, I would say, if not daily, at least every other day. More than likely, I could probably safely say daily, if not twice a day, because we'd walk the dogs twice a day. We'll see deer, does, bunch of does. We rarely see bucks, but there is a group of does that kind of live along the route, and there's different places we'll see them along the walk. So we know those there's 3 main spots we'll see them, and then every once in a while we'll see them in a random spot. It really freaks us out. But the dog, they'll see us and they'll see the dogs, and the majority of the time they just look at us, and they're probably, I don't know, 50 yards, 100 yards away, if that. And they just kind of look at us, and they stand still and they look at us, and some of them will just go back to eating. Good, like, just don't give a shit. Other times, Clyde will get a little excited, Norman will get a little excited, and they'll let out a little bark, and they'll take off into the woods. And it's a nice little thing, you know. You walk along, you see the deer, and you're in wildlife. So that's really cool. We see them quite often. Like this time of year when the does are bunching up, I think the group of does that we see is probably, I think we normally count like 8 to 10. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on if they're hiding in the woods or whatever. The other morning we were walking along, and one of the does was blowing at us. I don't know if you've ever deer hunted, or you know kind of the stuff, that the noises that deer make, especially does, when they're feeling threatened or they're trying to alert the other does in their pack. They do something they call blow, and it's kind of like a like kind of huffing. Very distinctive noise when you hear it. But we were walking along, and all of a sudden we're hearing doe blow, and I'm like, what? Corey's like, did you hear that? Like, we look over into the brush, and probably 15 yards from us at most, there's a deer standing right in the edge of the woods, and you could see behind her. Jim says we call it a snort. That's a different noise, in my experience, in my vernacular. And bucks do it more than does. I mean, maybe where you're from. But anyway, there she stood right in the edge of in the brush, and behind her were at least one other one. And I was like, really? You just talk sassy to us like that right there next to the road. We've also experienced, and it's only a couple times a year, seems, the squirrels get really crazy. The squirrels, we've dubbed them a few times a year, they turn into suicide squirrels. Our dogs will especially Clyde, would love to chase a squirrel, would love to be off leash and chase a squirrel. Used to chase rabbits and squirrels at the farm when they had a fenced in yard, and absolutely loved it. Would catch them every once in a while. Brought Corey a rabbit before. But anyway, the squirrels, depending on the time of year, will get pretty close to us. They'll run out in front of us. They'll run back in the woods. And you just have to be on alert for it, because as soon as the dog sees one, wants to go after it for sure. Well, yesterday or 3 days ago, we were walking along, and no shit, a squirrel came screaming out of the woods, out of nowhere, like just completely out of the blue, comes flying out of the woods faster than I've seen a squirrel run in quite some time. screamed right in front of us. Maybe, God, it couldn't have been 10 feet in front of us, and just right into the woods on the other side of the road. And the dogs looked and were like, what the fuck? Both dogs freaking out, trying to grab him, barking, like, what just happened? It was like the Flash had just gone past us. So Corey and I are like, holy crap. Time to hold on to the dogs a little tighter if this shit's going to happen, because it's that time of year again with the suicide squirrels. So we walk home. Next walk, yesterday, we're walking along and there's a huge owl just sitting in the side of the woods. Just kind of takes off and floats back into the woods a little bit. Corey's like, did you see that? I was like, yeah. Looking at it. And then it took off and flew off into the woods some more. We've seen the owl a couple times, but it's really nice, other than having to walk them on a county road and other than dealing with the traffic and moving on and off the road, and the ditch is full of garbage and glass and all sorts of stuff. Other than that, the wildlife's pretty cool. It's a I don't want to say a scenic walk, but we walk along in the woods. There's sections where there's no houses or anything. There are sections with houses, but a lot of it is wooded. Lots of nature. Get to see lots of wildlife. But in the last week or so, it's really ramped up. The deer have kind of colonized for the winter, and the squirrels are back in suicide mode. The owls maybe they're hunting this. Maybe the owls are hunting the squirrels. I don't know. But yeah, lots of wildlife on the walks. So, I don't know. That's about it. What do you guys got? Silver kind of pumped up last week a little bit, and then for the rest of the week it mainly stayed stable on the price. It didn't jump up a whole lot. Right now it's an interesting weekend because markets are closed today. So paper silver that's futures and just trading. We have the silver IOUs basically. That's closed today with the holiday here in the US, but physical silver is always for sale. If you have it, you can sell it. If you want it and you can find it, you can buy it. And then also other countries around the world are still trading today. So it could be an interesting divergence, and from what I see, it really looks like the paper silver market and the physical silver market are diverging. So with this extra day on the weekend, it could be interesting tomorrow morning when markets open what has happened. But right now, spot silver sitting at $93.91. It was up over 94 this morning. It looks like it's flatlined for the last over the weekend time, but that has been interesting to watch. What that's signaling, I'm not an economist by any means, but silver ramping up is I just can't picture it being a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing if you have silver, but it's a sign of not good things, depending on what viewpoint you're looking at it. So, other than that, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you all watching. If you want to hang out more throughout the week and join in the conversation over in the Telegram group, you can join at t.me/lots chat. t.me/lots chat. Good group of folks over there. We have a good time. We joke around. We talk about all sorts of different stuff, and come on and join us over there. That's where you'll find the Bitcoin guessing game contest that happens every morning. Congratulations again to Pip for winning this week. Other than that, I'm going to wrap her up and have a fantastic week. Next week, we'll be talking to you from snowy Tennessee, unless the weather changes. Hopefully, the weather forecast is wrong and we don't get dumped on by 7+ inches of snow. But you never know. Have a fantastic day, guys, and make it a great week. And we'll catch up with you again next Monday.